Imagine losing everyone you love, and then spending 10 years building walls so high that not even Christmas can break through. Nicholas Whitmore owns half the luxury hotels in the world. He commands boardrooms. He closes billion-dollar deals before most people finish breakfast. But every Christmas Eve, he stands alone in his penthouse, staring at the snow falling over the city, remembering the one thing money can't buy, the warmth of home. Tonight is no different. The silence in his apartment is suffocating. The tree his assistant decorated sits untouched in the corner, glowing with cold, perfect lights. No laughter, no cinnamon in the air, no grandmother pulling fresh bread from the oven, smiling at him like he was the only thing that mattered. She's been gone 14 years, and with her, the last piece of his heart. Nicholas closes his eyes. He can still smell it, that bread. Golden crust, soft inside, sweet, but not too sweet. She made it every Christmas Eve. She never wrote the recipe down. She said some things are meant to be felt, not measured. He opens his laptop, types, traditional Christmas bread, small bakeries, handmade. One result catches his eye. A tiny place across town, Clara's Corner Bakery. The reviews mention old-world recipes and tastes like childhood. He doesn't think. He grabs his coat. If you believe some memories are worth chasing, even if it hurts, like this video, and subscribes because this story will remind you what Christmas used to feel like. The bakery is small, almost invisible between a bookstore and a flower shop. The windows glow with soft yellow light. Inside, someone is moving. Flour on her hands, hair tied back, completely focused. Nicholas pushes the door open. A bell chimes. The warmth hits him first. Then the smell. Oh God, that smell. His chest tightens, his throat closes. It's been 14 years since he's felt this. The woman behind the counter looks up. She's younger than he expected, mid-20s maybe. Flour streaked across her cheek, eyes tired but kind. She wears a faded apron that says, "Made with love," in stitching that's coming loose. "We're about to close," she says gently. "But if you need something quick, I can—" "That bread." His voice comes out rough. He clears his throat. "The one in the window, the round one with the cross on top." She blinks. "The pain de Natal?" He nods. He doesn't trust himself to speak. She studies him for a moment. Something shifts in her expression, like she's seeing past the expensive coat, the watch, the controlled exterior. "It's not ready yet," she says quietly. "It needs another 20 minutes. "I'll wait." She hesitates. "We close at 8. It's Christmas Eve. Don't you have somewhere to be?" The question lands harder than she meant it to. "No," he says simply. Silence stretches between them. She looks at him, really looks at him, and something in her softens. "Okay," she says. "You can wait." He sits at the small table by the window. The bakery is empty except for the two of them. She works quietly, pulling trays from the oven, brushing glaze over pastries, humming something under her breath. Nicholas watches her without meaning to. There's something about the way she moves, careful, intentional, like every gesture matters. She's not performing. She's not trying to impress anyone. She's just present. "Do you run this place alone?" he asks. She glances over her shoulder. "Most days. My parents used to own it. They passed a few years ago. I kept it going." "That must be hard." She shrugs, but he sees the weight in it. Some things are worth keeping alive. He knows that feeling. He's spent a decade keeping his grandmother's memory alive in the only way he knows how. By building, by succeeding, by never stopping long enough to feel the emptiness. "Why this bread?" she asks suddenly, turning to face him. "The pain de Natal. Most people don't even know it exists anymore." He looks down at his hands. "My grandmother used to make it. Every Christmas Eve. She never taught anyone the recipe. When she died, I thought I'd never taste it again." Clara's expression shifts. Her eyes soften with something that looks like recognition, like she's lost something too and she knows exactly what it feels like. "I learned it from my avó," she says quietly. She learned it from hers. It's one of the last recipes we still make the old way. No shortcuts, no machines, just time and care. "Why keep doing it?" he asks. "It can't be profitable." She smiles, sad and small. "Some things aren't about profit." The oven timer beeps. She moves to pull the bread out and the smell floods the bakery. Warm, golden, impossibly familiar. Nicholas closes his eyes. For a moment he's 15 again. His grandmother is laughing. The house smells like cinnamon and orange peel. Everything is still whole. When he opens his eyes, Clara is standing in front of him, holding the bread wrapped in brown paper. "Here," she says softly. He reaches for his wallet, but she shakes her head. "It's Christmas Eve," she says. "Consider it a gift." He stares at her. "I can't." "You can." Their eyes meet. Something passes between them, unspoken, fragile, impossibly real. "Thank you," he whispers. She nods, smiles, turns back to the counter. Nicholas stands, holding the bread like it's something sacred. He should leave. He should walk out the door and never come back, but instead, he hears himself say, "Can I help you close up?" Clara turns, surprised, and for the first time in 14 years, Nicholas Whitmore doesn't feel alone. What happens when a man who's forgotten how to feel meets the woman who reminds him what home tastes like? She doesn't answer right away. Clara stands there, flour dust caught in the warm light, studying him with those careful eyes, the kind that see too much, that carry their own quiet grief. "You don't have to," she says finally. "I know." But he doesn't move toward the door, and she doesn't ask him to leave. So they work in silence. Nicholas folds chairs. Clara wipes down tables. He's never done anything like this before. Not in his 32 years of boardrooms and five-star suites and assistants who handle everything he doesn't want to touch. But here, in this small bakery that smells like memory and cinnamon, folding a chair feels like the most important thing he's done all year. She moves around him easily, naturally, like his presence doesn't disrupt her rhythm. She hums that same melody under her breath, something old, something Portuguese, something his grandmother used to sing while kneading dough at dawn. His chest tightens again. Outside, snow falls heavier now. The street is empty. Christmas lights blink red and gold in shop windows, but no one's there to see them. The city has gone home, everyone except them. "Do you do this every year?" he asks quietly, breaking the silence. "Work on Christmas Eve?" Clara glances at him while stacking trays. Someone has to make sure people have their bread in the morning. Christmas tradition doesn't take days off. "But you do this alone?" She pauses, her hands still on the metal tray. For a moment, something flickers across her face. Loneliness, maybe, or resignation, or both. "Alone is easier," she says. "No one to disappoint." Nicholas knows that logic. He's lived it for a decade, built an empire on it. Alone is control. Alone is safe. Alone means no one can leave you because you never let them close enough to stay. But standing here, watching her move through this small, warm space she's kept alive against all odds, alone suddenly feels like the wrong answer. They finish cleaning. Clara locks the register, turns off the main lights. The bakery falls into softer darkness. Just the glow from the street, the hum of the refrigerator, the silence of snow outside. She walks to the back room and returns with her coat. Old wool, patched at the elbows. She pulls it on slowly and Nicholas notices the way her shoulders drop, exhausted but too proud to show it. "Thank you for helping," she says, meeting his eyes. "You didn't have to." "I wanted to." She looks at him for a long moment, and he wonders what she sees. Does she see the man who owns hotels in 12 countries? The CEO who closed a merger last week worth more than this entire neighborhood? Or does she just see someone standing in a bakery on Christmas Eve, holding onto a loaf of bread like it's the last piece of something he lost. "Merry Christmas," she says softly. He should say it back. He should leave. He should walk out into the snow and return to his penthouse and eat this bread alone in the dark, like he's done everything else for the past 14 years. But instead, he hears himself ask, "Do you have somewhere to go tonight?" Clara blinks, surprised, guarded. "I'll be fine," she says carefully. "That's not what I asked." Silence stretches. She looks away, toward the window, toward the snow that's falling harder now. "No," she admits quietly. "Not really." Nicholas feels something crack open in his chest, something he's kept sealed for so long he forgot it was there. Neither do I. They stand in the doorway of the bakery, snow swirling around them, the city holding its breath. Clara pulls her coat tighter. "I usually just go home, make tea, read, it's fine, I'm used to it." "So am I," Nicholas says. "But maybe we don't have to be." She looks up at him sharply. Her eyes search his face, looking for the angle, the ulterior motive, the thing that always comes with men who wear $1,000 coats and speak in that low, controlled voice. But she doesn't find it. Because for once in his life, Nicholas Whitmore isn't calculating. He's not strategizing. He's just a man who walked into a bakery looking for his grandmother's bread and found something he didn't know he was searching for. "There's a diner 2 blocks from here," he says quietly. "Opens all night on Christmas Eve. Terrible coffee. Best pancakes in the city. I used to go there with my grandmother." Clara's expression softens. "You're asking me to have pancakes with you?" "I'm asking you not to spend Christmas Eve alone." The vulnerability in his voice surprises them both. She studies him one more time. Then slowly she nods. "Okay." They walk through the snow side by side, not touching, not speaking. Just 2 people moving through the cold, carrying their separate grief, learning what it feels like to not be alone. The diner glows ahead, neon sign buzzing, windows fogged with warmth. Nicholas holds the door open. Clara steps inside, and the smell of coffee and butter and maple syrup wraps around them like a memory coming back to life. They sit in a booth by the window. Order pancakes. Hot chocolate instead of coffee, because Clara insists it's Christmas Eve and some traditions matter. And then quietly, carefully, they begin to talk. Not about business, not about money or success or the weight of running a dying bakery or a billion-dollar empire. They talk about grandmothers who taught them recipes, about parents who left too soon, about the strange ache of surviving when the people you love don't, about how Christmas used to feel like magic, and how it hasn't felt like anything in years. Nicholas watches Clara's face as she speaks. The way her eyes light up when she remembers something good, the way her voice drops when she touches something that still hurts. And somewhere between the second cup of hot chocolate and the snow piling higher outside, Nicholas realizes something terrifying. He doesn't want this night to end. But when morning comes, will he have the courage to stay? The diner empties as midnight approaches. Waitresses wipe down tables with slow, tired motions. The cook flips the sign to signal last call. Outside, the snow has transformed the city into something unrecognizable, soft, quiet, almost sacred. But Nicholas and Clara remain in their booth by the window, the world shrinking down to just this. Her hands wrapped around a mug, his coat draped over the seat beside him, the comfortable silence between words that says more than conversation ever could. She tells him about the bakery, how her parents met there 30 years ago, her father a baker's apprentice, her mother a customer who came in every morning for the same cinnamon roll, how they built something small and warm and real, how the neighborhood used to line up on Saturday mornings just to smell the bread rising, how everything changed when the grocery chains moved in, when people stopped caring about handmade, when fast became more important than good. Nicholas listens in a way he hasn't listened in years. Not as a CEO analyzing data, not as a strategist finding angles. just as a man hearing a story that sounds unbearably familiar. The story of losing something irreplaceable, of fighting to keep it alive even when the world tells you to let it go. "I know I should sell," Clara says, staring into her mug. "Everyone tells me that. The building's worth more than the business. I could pay off the debts, start over somewhere else, do something practical." She pauses. Her fingers tighten around the ceramic. "But every time I think about closing those doors for the last time, it feels like erasing them, like admitting they don't matter anymore." Nicholas feels the weight of her words settle in his chest. He knows that fear. He's carried it differently, by building monuments instead of preserving them, by creating empires so vast that no single loss could destroy him. But underneath all the success, all the control, it's the same desperate math. If I keep moving, if I keep building, maybe I won't have to feel what's missing. "They matter," he says quietly. Clara looks up. Her eyes are bright with unshed tears. "Do they? Or am I just holding on to ghosts?" The question hangs between them. Nicholas thinks about his grandmother, about the 14 years he spent building a life that looks nothing like the one she gave him, about the penthouse that never smells like bread, about the hotels full of people, and the suffocating loneliness that follows him through every lobby, every boardroom, every empty Christmas Eve. "Maybe," he says slowly, "ghosts are just love that doesn't know where to go. They leave the diner near 1 in the morning. The owner waves them out with a tired smile and a muttered Merry Christmas that sounds more like a prayer than a greeting. The snow has stopped. The city is buried in white, clean, new, impossibly still." Clara pulls her old coat tighter. Nicholas stands beside her on the sidewalk, breath fogging in the frozen air, and realizes he doesn't want to call his driver, doesn't want the smooth leather interior and the partition that separates him from everything real, doesn't want to return to the penthouse where nothing has ever felt like home. "I'll walk you back," he says. She doesn't argue. They move through empty streets, past darkened shops and glowing windows where families are still awake, where children press faces against glass hoping to see reindeer in the sky. The world feels suspended, caught between one year ending and another beginning, between grief and hope, between what was and what could be. Clara walks close enough that their shoulders almost brush. Nicholas matches her pace, slow, unhurried, like neither of them wants to arrive. "Can I ask you something?" she says after several blocks of silence. "Anything." "Why did you really come to the bakery tonight?" Nicholas considers lying. Considers giving her the simple answer, nostalgia, curiosity, a whim. But something about the way she asked, the way she's looked at him all night like she can see past every wall he's ever built, makes lying impossible. "Because I'm tired," he says finally. "Tired of pretending that success is the same as happiness. Tired of spending every Christmas alone and telling myself it's a choice. Tired of living in a world where everything is perfect and nothing feels real." He stops walking, turns to face her. "I came looking for bread, but I think I was really looking for a reason to feel something again." Clara's breath catches. In the glow of the streetlight, her face is soft, open, impossibly vulnerable. "And did you," she whispers, "feel something?" Nicholas looks at her. This woman who makes bread at dawn, who keeps her parents' memory alive in flour and yeast and stubborn hope, who spent Christmas Eve with a stranger because neither of them could bear to be alone. "Yes," he says, "I did." They reach the bakery. Clara's apartment is above it, a narrow staircase beside the shop entrance, a single window glowing dim above the street. She stops at the bottom step, turns to him. Snow dusts her hair, her shoulders, the worn fabric of her coat. "Thank you," she says, "for tonight, for listening, for not being alone." Nicholas feels something shift inside him, tectonic, irreversible. "Clara," she looks up. "Can I see you again?" The question escapes before he can calculate the risk, before he can build the walls back up, before he can remember all the reasons why letting someone in is dangerous. She stares at him, searching, hoping, afraid. "I don't even know your last name," she says softly. He hesitates, because once he tells her, everything changes. Once she knows who he is, what he owns, what he represents, the world he comes from, this fragile thing between them might shatter under the weight of reality, but he's so tired of hiding. "Whitmore," he says quietly. "Nicholas Whitmore." Recognition flickers across her face. Shock, understanding, the realization of exactly how vast the distance is between his world and hers. And in that moment, standing on a snowy sidewalk at 2 in the morning, Nicholas Whitmore realizes he might have just made the biggest mistake of his life. When she learns the truth, will she see the man he is, or only the empire he built to forget? Clara takes a step back. Not dramatic, not angry, just distant, like the space between them suddenly became a chasm neither of them knows how to cross. "Whitmore," she repeats slowly. Her voice is careful now, guarded, as in Whitmore Hotels, as in the man who owns half the city. Nicholas feels the warmth drain from the night. Yes. She looks at him differently now, not with the soft curiosity from the diner, not with the gentle recognition of shared loneliness. She looks at him the way people always look at him once they know, calculating his worth, measuring the distance, deciding whether he's real or just another powerful man playing games with ordinary lives. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asks quietly. "Because it didn't matter." "Didn't matter?" Her laugh is soft, bitter. "You let me talk about struggling to keep my bakery alive, about debts and grocery chains and not knowing how I'll make rent next month, and the whole time you're—" She stops, shakes her head. "You probably spend more on a single dinner than my bakery makes in a year." That's not fair, isn't it? Clara's eyes are bright now, but not with tears, with something sharper. "Men like you don't just wander into places like mine looking for bread, Nicholas. You don't sit in diners at midnight, listening to broke bakers talk about their dead parents unless there's an angle. So what is it? You want to buy the building? Turn it into another luxury property? Put a coffee chain on the ground floor and condos above?" Each word lands like a blade. "No," Nicholas says, his voice tight. "I came because I was lonely, because I smelled something that reminded me of home, because for one night I wanted to be someone other than the man everyone expects me to be." "Well, congratulations," Clara says. "You got your one night." She turns toward the stairs. Nicholas reaches for her arm, gentle, desperate, but she pulls away before he can touch her. "Don't," she whispers, and then she's gone. Up the narrow stairs, the door closing with a soft final click that echoes louder than a slam ever could. Nicholas stands alone on the empty street, snow beginning to fall again, the bread still wrapped in brown paper tucked inside his coat. He doesn't move for a long time. He walks back through the city in the dark hours before dawn. Not to his penthouse, not to anywhere specific, just walking, trying to outrun the hollow ache spreading through his chest. The snow crunches under his expensive shoes. His breath fogs in the frozen air. Somewhere in the distance, church bells begin to chime, calling the faithful to Christmas morning mass, announcing the arrival of something sacred. But Nicholas feels none of it. Just the cold, just the emptiness, just the familiar return of walls he thought for a few brief hours he might finally be able to tear down. He thinks about Clara's face when she realized who he was. The shift from warmth to ice, from connection to suspicion. He's seen it 1,000 times before, the moment people stop seeing him and start seeing his net worth, his power, his potential usefulness. But this time, it hurts in a way it never has before, because this time he cared. Christmas morning arrives grey and cold. Nicholas sits in his penthouse, the bread unwrapped on the counter, unable to bring himself to taste it. Outside, the city wakes slowly. Families gather. Children tear through wrapping paper. The world celebrates. He stares at his phone, opens it, closes it, opens it again. He doesn't have her number, doesn't have any way to reach her except to show up at the bakery like some desperate fool who can't take a hint. His assistant calls, cheerful, efficient, reminding him about the New Year's gala, the Tokyo meetings next week, the acquisition contracts waiting for his signature. Nicholas barely hears her. He ends the call, stands at the window, watches snow fall over a city that suddenly feels more isolating than ever. And then quietly, he does something he hasn't done in 14 years. He breaks off a piece of the bread, lifts it to his mouth, tastes it. The flavor hits him like a wave, sweet, warm, impossibly familiar. His grandmother's kitchen, Sunday mornings, her hands dusted with flour, her voice humming that old Portuguese melody, her eyes crinkling when she smiled at him like he was the most important person in the world. Tears blur his vision, because Clara was right. The bread tastes exactly like memory, exactly like everything he's lost and can never get back. But it also tastes like something else. It tastes like her hands making it. Her choice to keep the recipe alive. Her stubborn refusal to let the past disappear just because the world stopped caring. It tastes like hope. For 3 days, Nicholas doesn't go back to the bakery. He tells himself he's respecting her boundaries, giving her space. Not being the entitled billionaire who assumes his money or his apologies can fix everything. But the truth is simpler. He's afraid. Afraid she'll reject him again. Afraid she'll see him as nothing more than the empire he built to fill the void where his heart used to be. Afraid that the one real thing he's felt in years will dissolve the moment he tries to hold on to it. So he works, attends meetings, signs contracts, goes through the motions of being Nicholas Whitmore, CEO, success story, man who has everything except the one thing that matters. But at night, alone in the penthouse, he thinks about her. The flower on her cheek, the way she moved through the bakery like every gesture was a prayer, the quiet strength in her voice when she talked about keeping her parents' memory alive, the warmth in her eyes before she learned his name. On the third night, he makes a decision. He doesn't know if she'll listen, doesn't know if he can bridge the chasm between their worlds, but he knows he has to try, because some things are worth fighting for, and Clara Bennett, with her worn coat and her stubborn heart and her bread that tastes like home, might be the first real thing he's wanted in 14 years. When a man who owns everything realizes he has nothing, how far will he go to prove he's more than his name? Nicholas returns to the bakery on the 4th morning, not at closing time, not in the romantic cover of darkness. He arrives at dawn when the city is still half asleep and the sky bleeds pale grey over snow-covered streets. The lights are already on inside. Through the window, he sees her, moving between oven and counter with the same quiet focus, the same careful grace. Her hair is pulled back. Flour dusts her forearms. She's alone, as always, doing the work that should take 3 people, but that she refuses to abandon. Nicholas stands on the sidewalk, watching. His heart pounds harder than it did during his first board presentation, his first major acquisition, his first time betting everything on a deal that could break him. This feels bigger than all of that. He pushes the door open. The bell chimes. Clara looks up, her hands still on the dough she's kneading. For a moment her face opens, surprise, maybe hope. But then the walls go back up. Her expression flattens into something polite, distant, professional. "We're not open yet," she says quietly. "I know." She returns to kneading, working the dough with firm, practiced motions, not looking at him, making it clear his presence changes nothing about her rhythm, her purpose, her world. Nicholas steps closer to the counter. He doesn't speak right away, just watches her work, the way her fingers press and fold, the way she reads the dough like a language only she understands, the way even in her silence, she's saying everything. "I'm not here to buy your bakery," he says finally. I'm not here to make you an offer or solve your problems with money or turn this place into something it's not. Clara's hands slow but don't stop. Then why are you here? Because I can't stop thinking about you. The words land raw, unpolished, more honest than anything he's said in years. Clara's hands finally still. She looks up, and in her eyes he sees the war between wanting to believe him and knowing better than to trust men who speak in certainties. You don't know me, she says softly. I know you keep this place alive even though it's killing you. I know you make bread the way your grandmother taught you, because some things matter more than profit. I know you spent Christmas Eve with a stranger, because you understood what it feels like to be lonely in a room full of everything, except what you actually need. Her breath catches. I know, Nicholas continues, his voice dropping lower, that when I'm with you, I don't feel like the man who built hotels to fill the emptiness. I feel like the boy who sat in his grandmother's kitchen, believing the world could still be warm. Silence fills the bakery. Outside, the city begins to wake. A car passes. Somewhere a door closes. Life continues, indifferent to the fragile thing breaking open between them. What do you want from me? Clara whispers. Nicholas takes a breath. The answer should be complicated, should involve strategies and plans and the careful negotiation of two incompatible worlds. But standing here, watching her hands still covered in flour, he realizes the answer is devastatingly simple. I want to know you, not for a night, not as some fantasy escape from my life. I want to know what you dream about, what scares you, what makes you laugh. I want to show up here every morning and learn how you make that bread. I want to sit in this bakery after closing and hear every story you've never told anyone. He pauses. His voice cracks slightly. I want to be the kind of man who deserves to be let into your world. Clara stares at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she wipes her hands on her apron and comes around the counter. She stops close enough that he can see the exhaustion in her eyes, the fear, the desperate want to believe that someone like him could mean what he's saying. You scare me, she admits. Not because of your money, because when you look at me, I feel seen in a way I haven't felt since my parents died. And that terrifies me, because people like you don't stay in worlds like mine. You visit, you get what you need, and then you leave. Nicholas feels the truth of her words like a knife. I've spent 14 years leaving, he says quietly. Leaving every relationship before it gets too real, leaving every city before it feels like home, leaving every part of myself that might hurt if I let it matter. I'm tired, Clara. I'm so tired of leaving. She searches his face, looking for the crack, the lie, the inevitable moment when his real life calls him back. What if you get bored? She asks. What if you wake up one day and realize I'm just a baker with debt and a dying business and nothing interesting to offer? Nicholas reaches out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she doesn't, he takes her flour-dusted hand in his. What if I don't? He whispers. What if you're the first real thing I've found in 14 years? What if this bakery, this life you've built from grief and stubbornness and love, is exactly what I've been searching for? Tears slip down Clara's cheeks. She doesn't wipe them away. I don't know how to do this, she breathes. I don't know how to let someone in when everything I've ever loved has been taken away. Neither do I, Nicholas admits. But maybe we figure it out together. Outside, the sun breaks through the gray sky. Light floods the bakery, turning the flour dust in the air into something that looks almost like magic. Clara looks at their joined hands, his expensive watch against her work-worn fingers. Two worlds that shouldn't fit but somehow do. Okay, she whispers finally. Okay. She nods. Fresh tears, a trembling smile. Teach me, Nicholas says softly. Teach me how to make the bread. And Clara, this woman who spent years keeping her world small and safe, takes a breath and does the bravest thing she's done since her parents died. She lets him in. When two wounded hearts finally open, Can love be enough to heal what they've lost? The weeks that follow feel like waking up from a long, cold sleep. Nicholas shows up every morning at dawn, not with fanfare, not with grand gestures. He simply appears at the bakery door, still wearing expensive clothes that don't belong in the kitchen. And he learns. Clara teaches him how to knead dough, the way you have to feel when it's ready, how the texture speaks if you know how to listen. She teaches him about fermentation and timing, and the strange alchemy that turns flour and water into something that feeds both body and soul. He's terrible at first. His hands are too careful, too controlled. He approaches baking like a business deal, looking for formulas, for guarantees, for outcomes he can predict and manage. "Stop thinking," Clara says one morning, her hands covering his as they work the dough together. "Feel it." And slowly, impossibly, he learns to let go. They work in comfortable silence most mornings. Sometimes she hums that Portuguese melody his grandmother used to sing, and Nicholas feels 14 years of grief soften into something gentler, not forgetting, but remembering without the sharp edges that used to cut. Between batches they talk, about small things at first, favorite books, childhood memories, the way snow looks at dawn, then deeper things, about loss, about fear, about the strange courage it takes to keep living when the people who taught you how are gone. Nicholas tells her about his parents' accident, about being 15 and suddenly untethered, about his grandmother taking him in, teaching him that love doesn't have to be loud to be real, about losing her 3 years later and deciding somewhere in the grief that building walls was easier than risking another collapse. Clara tells him about her parents' illness, about watching them fade slowly, helplessly, about the moment she realized the bakery was all she had left of them, about the loneliness of keeping something alive that the world no longer values. And in the sharing, something shifts. The space between them narrows. Trust grows where fear used to live. Nicholas begins to change in ways he doesn't immediately recognize. He arrives at his office later, leaves earlier. His assistant notices. His board notices. But for the first time in his career, he doesn't care. Because the mornings at the bakery feel more important than any merger. The flour under his fingernails feels more real than any contract. The way Clara smiles when he finally gets the bread right feels more valuable than every hotel he's ever built. He starts bringing her things, not expensive gifts. He's learned she'd hate that. Small things. A better oven mitt because hers is singed and threadbare. A book of old Portuguese recipes he found in an antique shop. Fresh oranges from a market across town because she mentioned once that her grandmother used orange zest in the Christmas bread. Clara accepts them with a softness that breaks him open a little more each time. One evening after closing, she makes them dinner in the tiny apartment above the bakery. Nothing fancy. Soup and bread and wine from a bottle that costs less than the tip he usually leaves at restaurants. But sitting at her small table, listening to her talk about her plans to introduce a new sourdough line, watching candlelight catch in her eyes, Nicholas feels wealthier than he's ever felt in his 32 years. "What are you thinking?" she asks, catching him staring. He could deflect, could make a joke, could protect himself the way he always has. Instead, he tells the truth. "I'm thinking I've spent my entire adult life building a version of success that looks nothing like happiness. And sitting here with you eating soup in a tiny kitchen, I feel more alive than I've felt in any boardroom, any penthouse, any moment of my supposed perfect life." Clara's eyes shimmer. She reaches across the table, takes his hand. "You know this doesn't fix everything," she says quietly. "I'm still broke. The bakery is still struggling. Your world and mine are still—" "I know," Nicholas interrupts gently. "I'm not asking you to be someone you're not. I'm not trying to rescue you or fix you or turn your life into some project I can manage. I'm just asking to be part of it, however it looks, whatever it takes." Clara's thumb traces circles on his palm, a gesture so small, so tender, it feels like an earthquake. "I'm scared," she whispers. So am I. What if we break each other? Nicholas leans closer, his eyes never leaving hers. What if we don't? The kiss happens slowly, inevitably, like something that's been building since the moment he walked into her bakery on Christmas Eve, carrying grief and searching for a taste of home. Her lips are soft. She tastes like cinnamon and wine, and every good thing he thought he'd lost. His hands cradle her face like she's something sacred. Her fingers curl into his shirt like she's afraid he'll disappear. When they finally pull apart, breathless, foreheads touching, the world feels impossibly new. "Stay," Clara whispers. It's not just about tonight. They both know that. It's bigger. It's a question about tomorrow and the day after, and every morning they might wake up choosing this fragile, terrifying, beautiful thing between them. Nicholas doesn't hesitate. Yes. They fall asleep on her worn couch, tangled together under a blanket that's more holes than fabric. Outside, the city hums its late-night song. Inside, two people who thought they'd learned to live alone discover what it feels like to not be. Nicholas holds her close. Clara's head rests on his chest, her breathing slow and steady. For the first time in 14 years, his penthouse across town sits empty, and he doesn't miss it at all, because he's finally found what no amount of money could buy, what no empire could contain, what he'd been searching for in every hotel lobby and boardroom and empty Christmas Eve. He's found home, but in the peaceful dark, neither of them knows that morning will bring a test neither is prepared for. That the distance between their worlds isn't closed yet. That love, no matter how real, sometimes has to fight to survive. When the life he built collides with the life he wants, will Nicholas choose the empire, or the woman who taught him what it means to truly live? Morning arrives with a phone call. Nicholas wakes to the vibration against the coffee table, Clara still asleep in his arms, the apartment wrapped in the grey light of early dawn. He reaches for the phone carefully, trying not to disturb her. 37 missed calls, 18 messages, all from his executive team. His stomach drops. He slides out from under Clara, tucks the blanket around her shoulders, and steps into the tiny kitchen. His voice is barely a whisper when he answers. The conversation lasts 4 minutes. When it ends, Nicholas stands motionless, phone still pressed to his ear, staring at nothing. The Tokyo acquisition. The deal he's been building for 2 years, $300 million, 12 hotels. The expansion that would cement his empire across Asia. It's collapsing. The investors are pulling out. They need him on a plane in 3 hours or they walk. 3 hours. He looks back at Clara, still sleeping peacefully on the couch. Her face is soft in the dim light. Peaceful. Trusting. Last night, she asked him to stay. And he said yes. But staying means losing everything he's built. Missing this meeting means the deal dies. It means shareholders questioning his commitment. It means the board calling emergency sessions. It means the empire he constructed brick by brick to prove he was more than the grief-stricken boy his grandmother left behind, crumbling. Nicholas closes his eyes. His hands are shaking. This is the choice he spent his entire adult life avoiding. The reason he never let anyone close. The reason he built walls so high no one could ask him to choose between the life he made and the life he wants. But Clara did more than ask. She let him in. She taught him to knead dough and feel instead of think. She showed him what home tastes like. She made him believe for the first time in 14 years that maybe he could be something more than his empire. And now he has to decide if that belief is strong enough to bet everything on. He calls his assistant. His voice is steady despite the war raging inside his chest. The instructions are clear. Reschedule the Tokyo meeting. Send the VP of acquisitions instead. Make it work. He's not getting on that plane. There's silence on the other end. Then, carefully chosen words about responsibilities, about consequences, about the difference between a CEO who leads and one who abandons ship when it matters most. Nicholas listens to all of it. Then he says something he's never said in his professional life. "I don't care." He ends the call, sets the phone down, stands in Clara's tiny kitchen, hands braced against the counter, breathing like he's just run a marathon. He just walked away from $300 million, from an expansion that would have made him untouchable, from the kind of success men spend their entire lives chasing. And for what? For a woman who makes bread in a struggling bakery? For mornings covered in flour? For the chance at something real in a world built on contracts and leverage and calculated risks? Yes, for all of it, for her, for the man he's becoming when he's with her, instead of the empire he built to forget who he was. The decision settles into his bones, terrifying, liberating, right. Clara wakes an hour later to the smell of coffee and bread toasting. She finds Nicholas in her kitchen, still wearing yesterday's clothes, looking exhausted and more alive than she's ever seen him. He's made breakfast from whatever he could find: toast, jam, scrambled eggs that are slightly burned because he's still learning. "You're still here," she says softly, standing in the doorway. Nicholas turns. His eyes are red-rimmed but clear. "I'm still here." She sees something in his face, some decision made, some bridge crossed that he can never uncross. She doesn't ask. She just moves into his arms, and he holds her like she's the only solid thing in a world that's shifting beneath his feet. They eat breakfast together at her small table. Nicholas tells her about the call, about the choice, about what he just gave up and why. Clara listens with growing horror. "Nicholas, you can't," she starts. "That's your business, your life's work. You can't throw that away for what?" he interrupts gently. "For you, for us, for the chance to build something that actually matters." "But I'm not worth—" "Don't." His voice is firm. "Don't tell me what you're worth. Don't decide for me what I should value. I've spent 14 years building hotels because I didn't know how else to fill the emptiness, and all it did was make the emptiness bigger." He takes her hands across the table. "You taught me how to make bread, Clara, but you also taught me something more important. You taught me how to stay, how to show up, how to choose the life I want instead of the life I'm afraid to lose." Tears stream down Clara's face. "What if it doesn't work?" she whispers. "What if we fail? What if you wake up one day and regret—" "Then we fail together," Nicholas says simply. "And I'd rather fail at something real than succeed at something hollow." The weeks that follow are not easy. The Tokyo deal collapses. Nicholas faces board scrutiny. Shareholders demand explanations. The business press writes articles questioning his judgment, his commitment, his competence. But Nicholas shows up at the bakery every morning. He works beside Clara. He learns the rhythms of the business. He discovers that his strategic mind, applied to her passion and skill, might actually save the bakery he's come to love as much as she does. He doesn't throw money at her problems. He becomes her partner. They rebuild together. New suppliers, neighborhood outreach, social media presence that tells the story of handmade tradition in a fast food world. Slowly, improbably, the bakery begins to stabilize. And Nicholas Whitmore, CEO, empire builder, man who once measured worth in hotel properties and quarterly returns, discovers something extraordinary. The mornings covered in flour mean more than any boardroom ever did. The exhaustion of honest work feels better than any acquisition high. The way Clara looks at him when they finally balance the books for the first time in 2 years is worth more than every deal he's ever closed. He didn't rescue her. She didn't fix him. They simply chose each other. Every day, even when it was hard, even when the world questioned the logic, even when the safe choice was to walk away, and in that choosing they built something neither could have built alone. 6 months after Christmas Eve, the bakery is full on a Sunday morning. Families line up for Clara's bread. The neighborhood has returned. Local press has written features. The place hums with life and warmth and the smell of rising dough. Nicholas works the register, flour still on his collar from the morning baking session. Clara moves through the space she saved, greeting customers, laughing, thriving. Their eyes meet across the crowded bakery. No words needed, just recognition, just gratitude, just love that's been tested and didn't break. And Nicholas thinks about his grandmother, about the boy who lost everything, about the man who built an empire to fill the void. He thinks she'd be proud, not of the hotels, not of the success, but of this, of him learning, finally, what she tried to teach him all those years ago in her kitchen. Some things can't be measured, some things can't be built, some things can only be felt, chosen, nurtured with time and care, and the willingness to stay when leaving would be easier. Love is one of those things, and home is another. Was this story worth your time? Rate it 0 to 10 in the comments. And if you believe real love is about choosing to stay, subscribe. Because every story here is a reminder, the best things in life can't be bought. They can only be built together.